saying it's a crazy time. You can't afford not to like black people. You don't like black people enough, you can become one yourself. I'm not the only black man with a bunch of mug shots.
Right.
It's them young ones that come.
Yes,
that'll do what you want.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna tell me I'm independent. I pay my bills.
Right.
I pay the cost to be the boss.
Mm-hmm.
You the boss by your...
NBC, it's cutting ties with its NFL commentator Shannon Sharpe. The move coming after Sharpe, of course, the Hall of Fame tight end, settled a lawsuit accusing him of sexual assault and battery.
But I just wished, of all things, like I said, hey, they did what they felt they needed to do, and I'm at peace with that. But I just wish, guys, this thing could have waited until Monday.
Just went hard on Shannon Sharpe after ESPN fired him, and he's not being nice about it either. Katt is basically saying it's hard to feel sorry for Shannon because after all that unk advice he was giving out, he fell for the oldest trick in the book. In case you missed it, ESPN decided to cut all ties with Shannon, and the decision came right after Shannon settled a $50 million lawsuit with OnlyFans model Gabriela Zuniga. But what's crazy is that this is exactly what Katt tried to warn Shannon about. Katt sat there across from Shannon on Club Shay Shay and told him to his face that messing with white women could get him caught up.
I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not gonna act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends.
And then Monique said the same thing and gave Shannon some solid dating advice.
I'm grateful I'm not 56 and trying.
You tried to say what you tried to say.
I'm looking right at you.
I know you looking at your
I ain't backing down. You better take your old ass and get somebody to love you.
Damn.
But Shannon decided to ignore all the warning signs and advice, and now look at where he is. Jobless, embarrassed, and scrambling. Instead of playing it smart, he ended up paying a fat settlement to this model, got dragged through the headlines, and now to top it all off, ESPN cut him off. And let's be real, any serious network is probably gonna think twice before hiring a guy whose biggest headline is now SA lawsuit settlement. And now Katt Williams is saying, I told you so. Sources close to Shannon are saying he has no sympathy for Shannon because Unc literally had it all and blew it by being stupid. And one insider revealed that Katt didn't warn Shannon about white women for no reason. Katt already knew Shannon was messing around with this young OnlyFans model way before the lawsuit dropped, and he saw the whole setup coming from a mile away. Now Katt made it sound like he was talking about the Jonathan Major situation, but in reality, he was speaking directly to Shannon.
I didn't want to get with a white woman because I was scared she might have me running down the street like Jonathan Majors.
Come on, Katt.
Not because I didn't like white women. I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not gonna act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends. And that's the truth of the matter. So I stayed away from that.
You see Jonathan Major, what he went through, Marvel dropped him as soon as the conviction came out. And you were telling the
Hey, you saw that black woman come get his charge cut in half? Thank you, Megan Good. God bless you coming to save that slave. If he'd had to be there by himself, he was getting all four. Guilty, 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 guilty. She came in there, was just so beautiful, they had to knock half of it off. Bless his heart.
And that just goes to show, once again, Katt may tell a joke, but he ain't never told a lie. But Shannon refused to listen. What's also crazy is that Shannon agreed to pay millions to that OnlyFans model, thinking that the settlement would help him save his job and make this whole thing go away. But ESPN pulled the plug and fired him anyway. And y'all, that OnlyFans model? Well, she quit OnlyFans just 24 hours after the settlement news dropped. Gabriela announced the news on her Instagram, saying, "Today I have decided to retire from OnlyFans. Thank you for the incredible support you've shown me for the past few years. This community has given me a life I could never have imagined. I'll still be active on social media and have several new projects in the works that I can't wait to share. I'm truly excited for this next chapter." So Shannon literally retired this girl, y'all. She said for life. She secured generational wealth from a freaky race-playing 50-year-old man. You really can't make this up. And here's why nobody is cutting Shannon any slack. It's not just that he got played by this girl, it's also the fact that this is the same guy who said that he wouldn't let his daughter's wedding budget go over $30,000. And fans were quick to drag Shannon for these comments, especially after leaked texts showed he admitted that the OnlyFans model was charging him $25,000 for each cheek. Someone on X said it needed to happen to expose how much of a hypocrite Shannon is. He lost the little respect he had for others. Now he's done, willing to give an ex-worker millions of dollars, but his own daughter $30K for her wedding. And another user wrote, Shannon Sharpe has done so many things wrong, but me learning about him being cheap on his daughter's wedding really made me side-eye the F out of that country bumpkin. You paid more for that young white girl who saw you as a lick. How dumb was that? And as if all that wasn't embarrassing enough, just days after Shannon settled the lawsuit and agreed to pay millions to Gabriella, ESPN dropped the hammer and officially cut all ties with him. And get this, ESPN didn't even bother to put out an official statement. People magazine reached out to ESPN for comment, but they didn't want to talk about Shannon at all. As for Shannon's reaction, he broke his silence on July 30th on the Nightcap podcast. And while he claimed he was at peace with ESPN's decision, he also told his listeners that he begged ESPN to postpone the announcement of his firing until after his older brother, Sterling Sharpe, was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Shannon said he had to apologize to his brother because he knew his lawsuit and ESPN's decision to fire him would overshadow Sterling's big moment. But ESPN and Disney clearly had no sympathy for Shannon and ignored his request.
Before we get started, obviously, I'm sure everybody's heard the news by now that I will not be returning to ESPN. I found out this information a little earlier in the week, and really the only thing that I really ask is like, guys, could we wait until Monday? My brother's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I really wanted to be about him, and I wanted to be about my family. I know this coming out will overshadow everything that he's worked his entire life for. And unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. And so, as I told him, as I profusely apologized to him earlier today, he said, bro, stop apologizing. You don't have to apologize. I'm your big bro. I'm going to love you regardless. We all make mistakes. And he says, bro, I love you. So I'm done with this. You're done with it too. Move on. And I really enjoyed my time at ESPN. It gave me an opportunity to bring my audience that saw me really just grow. They saw me, Lakers in 5, and they saw me say all these analogies that my grandparents gave me, and I was able to bring that to ESPN. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But I just wished, of all things, like I said, hey, they did what they felt they needed to do, and I'm at peace with that. But I just wish, guys, this thing could have waited until Monday, because I hate the fact that I'm overshadowing my brother, the first two brothers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and this is what the headline's going to be for the next couple of days. So, bro, again, I know you told me this. I don't have to apologize, but I'm going to do it one final time tonight, and I won't apologize again. I'm sorry that I upstaged you in this manner. That was never my intent. You've been my hero. You've been my role model from as long as I can remember. And I apologize, and I thank all my fans for supporting me when I was at ESPN and every place that I've been, be it Club Shay Shay, Nightcap, Undisputed, ESPN. Thank you guys for your support.
And you know what makes the situation even crazier? Shannon was supposed to sign a massive $100 million deal before that lawsuit dropped. He was in talks for a podcast deal, which would have included all of his Shay Shay media shows, including Club Shay Shay, Nightcap with Chad Johnson, Club 520 Podcast, The Bubba Dub Show, and Humble Baddies. In fact, on April 18th, just 3 days before Gabriella dropped her lawsuit, Front Office Sports reported that Shannon was expected to sign a deal that would exceed $100 million. And now, not only is that deal off the table, but Shannon lost his spot at ESPN and also ruined his chances of working anywhere under the Disney umbrella, which includes ESPN, ABC, Hulu, and pretty much every major network you can think of. And once you get that kind of public stain, especially one this messy, it's almost impossible to bounce back in those circles. And all those projects that were supposed to make Shannon a podcast mogul, that ship sailed the minute Shannon decided to mess with a 19-year-old white girl. And this brings us right back to what Katt Williams said. No one's feeling sorry for Shannon because he had all the power, all the opportunities, and he blew it making dumb choices. But let me know your thoughts on all this. Was Shannon's downfall all on him? Did ESPN do the right thing by cutting ties with him so fast? And how do you feel about Shannon agreeing to pay